Welcome to Women's Sports Weekly, where women's sports happen every day, but we talk about it once a week. I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Danielle. Women's Sports Weekly is a podcast where we discuss the latest news, explore interesting stories, and share our love for women's sports. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Women's Sports Weekly Pod. Follow us and rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Send us an email at womensportsweeklypod@gmail.com, and we may feature your email on our Listeners Experience Zone, the Les.
March Madness brackets are back.
Yep, it's almost time to make our selections after Selection Sunday next week.
You can join the Women's Sports Weekly bracket. It is free. You can head to the link in our bio on our Instagram. We also have a link in our show notes to this episode and the previous episode. You will click join the bracket. You'll log into CBS or sign up, and then you will be able to make your picks after Selection Sunday, which is this Sunday, March 15th. There will be a determined prize for the winner.
We had an eventful weekend back in New Jersey. Why don't you tell us why we were there?
We went back to New Jersey for my cousin's wedding. My cousin Kevin got married, which was great. And it was so fun. And I love that venue. We actually went to that venue for my friend Amanda's wedding 6 years ago. It's in New York and it's just beautiful. And the wedding was beautiful. And it was so nice to be with family and get a very, very quick weekend back in New Jersey.
Yeah, and I said to you, it's kind of crazy because we go to a lot of weddings with my family, like my sisters and their partners, but we haven't been, since our wedding, we haven't been to a wedding with your sister, brother, and their partners, me and you, like all collectively together. So it was fun, and to see your dad's side of the family, all your cousins, was also very fun, and it was a great wedding.
It was. And it's strange because we don't get to see my dad's side of the family a lot. And the Bryan genes are very strong.
Yeah.
So like my cousins and we all have a particular look. So to get us all in the room, it's like, oh my God, you're all related somehow.
You could all be sisters.
I haven't been to a wedding without my dad since our wedding. And that was weird in itself to not have my dad here, and honestly horrible not to have him there. And then to go to my cousin Kevin's wedding and he was not there, it was just like, oh my gosh. You know, it's 2026. It's been 4 years since my dad passed away, and still I get hit with grief sometimes. And I know that's part of the process of it all. But I think being in Colorado and not being around family all the time is somewhat protective of that. And then when I go home and then I go to an event like this and it's just like, oh my gosh, he should be here and he's not here. It's always just a little bit difficult to deal with. And it's like a great reminder to me that things can be amazing. It's an amazing wedding. Kevin and Julie are so in love and it was just so beautiful. And on top of that, there's sadness because there's people you want there. And it's not just me and my dad. There were a lot of people on the memorial table that you wish were there to celebrate. And that stinks. And that's part of it too.
Yeah, I think it definitely probably makes it hard when you see his brothers and just people who look like him. And it's like, oh, you should be here too.
Yes, I was looking at my Uncle Mike and I was like, they have the same exact head shape.
Yeah.
From the back, they almost look like the same person. My Uncle Mike is just so much taller. And my brother is just my dad. Like he looks so much like my dad. So yeah, there's just reminders everywhere. And that's a good thing, right? Like it's nice to be reminded of the people you love and miss. And it being nice and it being sad can be present at the same time. And we had so much fun. We danced a lot.
Yes.
There was a lot of dancing. My feet really hurt them. My ankles hurt. I can't get down like I used to.
Heels. We're not used to those heels.
No.
And they do take a toll on our feet when we wear them.
But we did have lots of great bagels back in New Jersey. We brought some back.
Yeah. I spent Friday night eating a bunch of pizza and Italian food with my family. So good.
Yeah.
All the Italian food, all the carbs, as per usual when we're back in New Jersey.
Yep. And I've said it before, but my body's made for it. Like I love every second of it.
And you somehow shoved a dozen bagels in our backpacks to make it back to Denver.
Yes, because I need to share the wealth with others.
Yes.
New Jersey is a special place, and I like to show the people in my life, the people that I work with, how special it is through an everything bagel.
Yep, there you go.
All right, let's get into some highlights for the week. Let's start with Unrivaled basketball. It seems like a while ago now, but we're at a week post Unrivaled. And we didn't talk about the championship.
Yeah, the championship took place last Wednesday when our podcast dropped. So that night, and the Mist are your 2026 Unrivaled champions.
They beat the Phantom 80-74. And to provide some context here, in 2025 last year, the Mist and the Phantom were the two worst teams in the league. And then they played for a championship this year.
Kelsey Plum carried the Phantom with 40 points. Yes, 40 points. She shot 14 for 21, had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. So it has to suck when you have that good of a stat line to lose.
It is crazy to have 40 points and somehow not find the W. The Mist also played the Phantom twice this season and lost to them both times. So they were due. And Breanna Stewart for the Mist had 32 points. She also scored the game-winning shot. It was a little bit strange, and I don't love when a game ends on a foul shot, and this did, but an offensive foul was actually called on Breanna Stewart, and they challenged it. And when they challenged it, they overturned it to a block on Tip Hayes, which really sucked because then it gave her a free throw to win the title. And yeah, Breanna Stewart is not going to miss a free throw when she gets the chance to end the game.
Yeah, I am happy for her, though, because she co-founded the league with Nafisa Collier. So for her to get a championship, and I feel like she did have some ups and downs in Unrivaled since it started. Yes. So for her to get this win and to be able to score the championship winning basket, regardless of how it was done, is pretty cool for her.
She's very much in form right now, and it's like, oh, this WNBA season better happen because Stewie looks so back, and she's had some injuries that she was dealing with, and now she just looks like in top form.
Yeah, like she could do anything she wants out there.
And like a little bit more info on Stewie. She was a 2-time state champion in high school. She then won 4 NCAA championships at UConn. Just crazy work. She's won 3 WNBA titles, 3 World Cup gold medals, 3 Olympic gold medals, and 2 EuroLeague titles. And now she adds Unrivaled to her bag.
Wow, that is a lot of championships.
The Mist take home a $600,000 prize pool. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a lot of money. And it's even gone up from last year because last year, Rose, who won the Unrivaled championship, took home $50,000 per player. So they doubled it this year. So that's incredible. And as a reminder, Unrivaled had 2 sellout games on the road this year in Philly and New York. It's just been such a successful Unrivaled season. I can't wait to see how it continues to grow and how it continues to center its players. And hopefully we have a WNBA season. But if not, we've got Unrivaled to fall back on.
Just the growth of Unrivaled in 2 years just is more fuel to the fire for the players trying to get more money from the WNBA. I don't see them backing down. I think the WNBA definitely has to figure something out because they have proof that this can work.
Correct. We got to get to the after party though. And we need to talk about Arike Ogunbowale. She was arrested in Miami early Thursday morning. So they won on Wednesday night. They went out all night. They were at a nightclub in Miami. And she was arrested after allegedly punching a man in the face at the nightclub. The arrest happened at 4:20 a.m., which my dad used to always say nothing good happens after 12, which I know is early, but like, he had a point.
I mean, being out till 4:20 makes my stomach hurt. The thought of it.
And it's like, oh no, how many drinks were drunk at that point? She was charged with misdemeanor battery. And I just want to point out here, if this happened to a man, I think our tone would be a little bit different. And I want to call that out because, I just want to call that out. However, I've also been in a club as a woman. And do you put your hands on anybody ever? No. Can men be very inappropriate in a club? Yes. Do some men deserve to be punched in a club? Yes. But again, never put your hands on anyone. So apparently there is footage from the nightclub that captured the incident, confirmed the man's account. But I want to know what happened. We're waiting on more details. It's an unfortunate way to end the season because Arike Ogunbowale had such a great season. And again, you just can't put your hands on anyone. And especially when you're a public figure, it's going to get out there.
Yeah, I was upset to see that. Who knows what was said? I'm also curious to have more details, but hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Have you ever gotten in a fight at a club?
No, but I've seen you try to get into a fight, and I was so mad at you. I was so mad at you.
Have we talked about this on the podcast before?
Probably, I don't know.
So one time Danielle and I were out at the Jersey Shore, and there were 2 frat boys behind us, and Danielle and I
there was a whole group of them.
Danielle and I had kissed, and then I had caught one
and it was just like a peck. We weren't making out. We weren't doing anything. We know this is a very straight bar at the Jersey Shore, but like we just, kissed.
And then I caught them like making eyes at us and then doing a scissoring motion. Like they were so surprised to see gay people in the flesh. I had a little bit too much to drink and I lost my mind. And I tried to fight them and it was inappropriate. And again, you don't put your hands on people. I didn't put my hands on them.
You were just yelling in their face, telling them to punch you in the face. And I dragged you out of that bar so fast.
Okay, so yeah, I've learned a lot since then. I want to preface that. And it wasn't my finest moment, but like I understand why some people need to get punched in a club. I know you don't agree, and I don't agree either. The moral of the story, you can't put your hands on people. And if you're fighting with people in the club, it is time to go home.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we did. But at the same time, when you're in these predominantly straight spaces, it can get really annoying. And when it's 4:20 a.m., just like I said, nothing good happens after 12. So anyway, we'll find out more details. There might be some repercussions from both the Dallas Wings and Unrivaled because depending on how this goes, and we'll see what happens with the battery charge.
Yeah, I'm curious. I woke up on Monday morning and saw a post from her, so I guess she's doing somewhat okay.
One of the comments was just like a big elephant. It was like an elephant gif or gif, whatever it's called, and they were like, address the elephant in the room. But we're not going to get it anytime soon. I don't think the legal system's going to have to do its thing.
Yes. All right, let's move along to the SheBelieves Cup.
The U.S. women's national team secured its 8th SheBelieves Cup. So last Wednesday, they beat Canada 1-0. That was a big win. Ali Sentnor scored in the 55th minute off a corner kick from Rose Lavelle. And honestly, the USA looked dominant against Canada. They were doing what they wanted, and the goal by Ali Sentnor was sick. So they head into the final game against Colombia, and in order to win the SheBelieves Cup, they just needed to tie or to win. So a tie would have been fine and they still would have won the cup. And Colombia slowed the U.S. down a lot in the first half. Although the U.S. dominated possession, Colombia actually had more shot attempts than the U.S. in the first half. Colombia had 8 and the U.S. had 3. In the second half, the U.S. had to wait until the 82nd minute for Alyssa Thompson to score off a ripped shot from the top of the 18. It was sick. That late game score allowed the U.S. to win 1-0 against Colombia, and they are your SheBelieves Cup winners.
That's coming off of not winning last year, so to take back the title is a big deal. And they had some close games throughout this tournament.
Yeah, closer to Colombia than I would like. I think teams are starting to figure out how to be disruptive against the U.S., although Canada didn't. But some teams have very clear strategies of how to slow the U.S. down, how to disrupt them a little bit, and it can work. Luckily for us, the U.S. find ways to score. But yeah, there are ways to slow them down, although the group that we have, and I've said this before, it's just an embarrassment of riches. You have subs you can throw in who are just such difference makers and would be stars on any other national team. It's really amazing.
And the U.S. women's national team will be back in action in April for 3 matches against Japan. The third match will be in Denver on April 17th.
We can't wait. I'm so excited. Get to see them in the flesh. And we're going to get tickets this time. Last time the U.S. women's national team was here, we just tailgated and thought we were going to get tickets like late and go in, and it didn't happen. So we're doing it this time.
We will be more prepared. Let's get into updates for this week, starting with Run Club. We have Run Club every Thursday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time at the 99ers Sports Bar here in Denver. If you listen to our podcast, we share a secret word each week. And if you share that word with the bartenders after our 3-mile run, you will get 50% off your first draft. The secret word this week is
bagel.
Bagel.
Took us a second to get there, but it is bagel for all the bagels we ate. We also need to ask you to please rate and subscribe to our podcast. We love doing this. We want to continue to do it, and we create, produce, and edit the podcast all by ourselves. So if you want to support us, rate, subscribe, give us a positive review, and share with the people you love. Thank you to everyone who has rated the podcast so far. If you send us a screenshot of your 5-star rating, we will send you a Women's Sports Weekly sticker for free. All right, let's get into our deep dive this week. It is NCAA basketball Women's Champ Week. That's what they're calling it on ESPN. I don't know if I love the name, but I feel like it should be like Champs Week, but it's just Champ
I like it.
Okay, fine. We'll stick with it. As a reminder, as all of these conference tournaments happen in the NCAA, the winners of the 31 conference tournaments automatically clinch a spot to the NCAA tournament. So their spot is set in stone. Where they are seated is not. So
Correct.
like, even if you win your conference, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed a top seed. You could be a low seed if you win your conference.
Yes. And then there's a lot of at-large bids, which if you don't win your conference, like for example, the SEC will have many teams from the conference, even if they didn't make it to the championship, still get bids into the tournament.
Correct.
But those smaller D1 schools who win their conferences and get a chance at the NCAA tournament, like that's a huge fun deal.
Yeah, for sure. Like South Dakota State, who always comes in and plays well. They won their conference championship, and then they'll come into the NCAA tournament, and they're like always a risk to shake something up.
Yes. So let's start with, we're going to talk about a few of the larger conferences and those games, starting with the ACC, and Duke ended up winning. They beat Louisville in overtime, 70-65.
They were trailing for most of regulation, but then Delaney Thomas hit a game-tying layup with 4 seconds left to force overtime, and then they went into extra time, and Duke was able to pull it off. Taina Mayer led the Blue Devils with 19 points and 12 rebounds and was named tournament MVP. Duke is hitting a hot streak right now. They've won 21 of their last 23 games. They had a little bit of a slow start. And with this win, they will likely be, I think, a top 16 seed, which is great for them.
Yeah, I think they've been looking really good. I also watched the game when they played against Notre Dame in the semifinals, and that was also a very close game. But they have their moments of like, I'm like, what are you doing? They make some decisions where I'm like, you can't do that in that situation. But Toby Fournier looks really good.
Yeah.
She's so strong, and obviously Kara Lawson is a great coach. So yeah, I do think they could do some damage in the tournament. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, they were chucking up some threes at one point, and I was like, was that the play? And you were like, no, Kara Lawson did not take a timeout and draw up them bombing threes.
Yeah, you were like, what kind of play did she drop? I was like, not that.
They're a little bit young, but we'll see what happens. It's a good time to get hot. Let's talk about the Big Ten. UCLA smacked Iowa to win the Big Ten tournament. It was 96-45. They dominated the game from the start and opened up with a 13-0 run against Iowa. This win for them secured both the regular season and tournament championship for UCLA, who are looking to be the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament, but it is unlikely that will happen because of UConn, but they will likely be in the number 2 spot is my prediction. They'll get a number 1 seed. This is where it gets confusing because the first 4 teams get number 1 seeds, but you want the number one seed because your bracket is the easiest.
Yes.
So they will likely be the second number 1 seed.
Yes.
And just like I talked about UCLA smacking Iowa, then I also have to say that Texas smacked South Carolina. And it pains me to say it. 79-61.
Yeah, South Carolina came out so slow in this game, and it's hard to come back when you're down double digits in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It took them forever to score a single point, and oof, it just, you hate to see games like that.
And this is the SEC. I didn't mention it at the top, but Texas defeated the defending champion, South Carolina, and they captured their first SEC tournament title since joining the conference, which hasn't been too long. So.
Yeah. The Longhorns definitely controlled the game, and their MVP, Madison Booker, led the way, and they ended South Carolina's run of conference tournament dominance with this double-digit win.
I also just want to shout out Jordan Lee on Texas. Played incredible in that game. Texas is going to be a problem. And so with this win, they're likely the number 1. So number 3 overall, still getting the number 1 seed. And this probably means that they will be in the Fort Worth region rather than the Sacramento region, which I think is where South Carolina is headed. That was a big stakes. Yeah, Texas wants to play in Fort Worth, and South Carolina would want to play in Fort Worth. In the Big 12, West Virginia upset TCU 62-53 to win the Big 12 tournament. This tournament was very cool. It was played on a glass court, which I thought was awesome in Kansas City. Because the court was glass, they could do all of these cool visual effects before the game and after. I wonder how it felt to play on it, but it looked Really, really cool. West Virginia was the number 2 seed in this tournament. TCU was the number 1 seed, but West Virginia held TCU to just 53 points and controlled the second half. The tournament MVP was Jordan Harrison from West Virginia, and they captured their first Big 12 tournament title since 2017.
Wow. That's a long time.
And my question is, for you, did Olivia Miles make the right decision to transfer from Notre Dame to TCU?
It's hard to say because we still don't know what the beef was between Notre Dame and her. I think if she was on Notre Dame, that team would look a lot different this year. So I think any team she's on she's going to make it significantly better. I would ask her that question. How's your mental health on this team? How are your relationships? She's had a great season. She's had a ton of highlight reels. I think you would have to straight up ask her that question. What do you think?
Yeah. Notre Dame lost to Duke in the semifinals in the ACC tournament. They were not ranked at all in the top 25, Notre Dame.
Yep.
TCU has been ranked. And I was thinking about it. Although they lost this game, TCU is going to be in the NCAA tournament, and they will definitely receive an at-large bid. And if Olivia Miles was like, okay, I see here that the storyline is Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles. I can go somewhere where the storyline is Olivia Miles. I think you then made the right decision because you go to TCU, you are such a difference maker, and you're able to be in the top 10 rankings and have a shot and go to the NCAA tournament. I do think if you stay with Notre Dame, Notre Dame is a lot better of a team.
Yeah.
And do you have the same chance? I would probably say yes. I think if Olivia Miles stayed at Notre Dame, I think TCU and Notre Dame would be very evenly matched.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's like, what did she want?
Yeah.
So we'll see. It would be interesting to see them match up in the NCAA tournament, and then we can see what it would really look like with the two of them matched up together.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But
I would
at
love
this
that.
point, I'm wondering if Notre Dame's even going to get an at-large bid.
They will.
Well, I
think they
never know.
Yeah, they've been playing a little bit better this second stretch, so we'll see what happens. Then we need to talk about the Big East tournament. UConn will likely be the number 1 seed overall after winning the Big East tournament on Monday with a win over Villanova. They are the only undefeated team at 34-0.
Which is really incredible, the season they've had.
So in my head, it's UConn in the number 1 spot, UCLA number 2, Texas number 3, South Carolina number 4.
Can I just remind you that was my prediction from the start?
The same? Well, you said those would be our final 4 teams.
And if that's how it shakes out, that's a good opportunity for that to happen.
Yes, it is crazy to me that the SEC teams are in the 3 and 4 spot because they have the most competitive schedule. The SEC just beats up on each other between LSU and Oklahoma and South Carolina and Texas and teams like Ole Miss and Alabama and Vanderbilt. It's just a beating. And so if I'm designing my bracket and it's an SEC team and I'm always like this, people don't realize how good the SEC is. I do have a little bit of SEC bias where I'm like, it kind of sucks that because they play in such a good league that they're 3 and 4, but you can't say, oh, UConn, you play in the Big East, so you're not going to be the number 1 overall seed when you've been undefeated.
Yeah. And I think UConn has proven this year that they deserve that spot. Now, granted, the selections have not been made yet. Those are the predictions that are swirling around. And yeah, I'm excited to see how it actually shakes out.
I know we're going to be recording next week, probably right after Selection Sunday. So we'll give you all of our first impressions.
Yes.
Let's get into what we're looking forward to this week. Danielle, what do you have?
Selection Sunday for sure is what I'm looking forward to. It will take place Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. My favorite thing about Selection Sunday is they do have cameras on all the teams when they're selected, and especially for teams who get the at-large bids, it's a little more exciting because they don't necessarily know they're getting in. Or like we mentioned earlier, for those smaller conferences, even though they know they're getting in when they hear their name, it is super exciting. So watching it and watching all the reactions, some schools have big watch parties with their team and a bunch of other people, so I definitely recommend tuning in for that.
I also just want to add, it's interesting to see the bigger teams on the screen with somber faces when their seating gets called and they're just casually clapping because they wish they were seated higher, and they're like, oh, my run to the Final Four is going to be a lot more difficult.
Yes. Yes, for sure. So what are you looking forward to?
The PWHL Takeover Tour is coming back to Denver on Sunday, March 15th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be played on YouTube. We will be there, so we're going to have a very busy Sunday. The New York Sirens will take on the Minnesota Frost, and I will be cheering hard for New York.
Yes. That is it for this week. We will see you next week on Women's Sports Weekly. In the meantime, watch women's sports and share the podcast with your friends. Rate and subscribe to the pod on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.